Hi, I'm Gideon Marcus, and this is Journey Casual. My guest is Harry Seldon. Take it away.
Where have you been, my blue-eyed son? Where have you been, my darling young one? Oh, I stumbled down the side of 12 misty mountains, and I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I stepped out in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. And it's a hard, yes, it's a hard, and it's a hard, and it's a hard, it's a hard rains are gonna fall. What did you see, my blue-eyed son? What did you see, my darling young one? I saw a newborn baby with wild wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping. Saw a room full of men, their hammers a-bleeding. Saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 talkers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. And it's a hard, yes, it's a hard, oh, it's a hard, hard, hard. It's a hard rains are gonna fall. And what did you hear, my blue-eyed son? What did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of a thunder, it roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. I heard one person starve, I heard many people laughing. I heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. I heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. And it's a hard, yes, it's a hard, oh, it's a hard, and it's a hard rains are gonna fall. What'll you do now, my blue-eyed son? What will you do now, my darling young one? Well, I'm going back out before the rain starts a-falling. And I walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters, where the home in the valley meets the damp, dirty prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it and reflect it from the mountain so all souls can see it. Then I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, but I'll know my song well before I start singing. That it's a hard, oh, it's a hard, yes, it's a hard, and it's a hard rains are gonna fall. Thank you. That's it.
Welcome, Harry Seldon, to the Journey Show.
Thank you, Gideon. Thank you for having me.
People are still filing in. We're so glad to have you, Harry, and you've got a wonderful slew of songs set up, some of them original, some of them covers, and we're going to hear all of them today. But first, these sponsors. Today's program brought to you by The Joy of Cooking. If you want cooking with none of the fat and all of the sugar, because sugar is what's important for your children, then you want The Joy of Cooking, a classic for more than 50 years. Today's program also brought to you by black licorice. Black licorice is, of course, the only flavor of licorice, and there'll never be any others. So enjoy your black licorice. And now we're going to go straight into the news as soon as the licorice exits my mouth. For those of you listening only, that's the sound of my vocal cords being strangled by black licorice. And now, this news. In the politically fraught nation of South Vietnam, the chairs change again. President Phan Hoc Su and Prime Minister Phan Huy Quat have stepped down. Major General Wen Van Tu is now president, and Vice Air Marshal Wen Cao Ki, known for his fashion plate attire and ruthless jet strikes, is now prime minister. In other Vietnam news, Secretary of Defense McNamara has announced that 21,000 more troops will be sent to Vietnam. This will raise the total to more than 70,000, triple where the number stood at the beginning of the year. In Chicago, protests, walkouts, and sit-ins continue for several days over segregation in the city's school system. On the second day of protests, more than 200 were arrested, including Corps Director James Farmer and comedian Dick Gregory. A political realignment is occurring in this nation due to resistance to the civil rights movement. Congressman Albert Watson of South Carolina, pictured here, once a Democrat, resigned earlier this year. He has just been reelected to his seat as a Republican. This may become the trend for all conservative Southern Democrats. In space news, Dr. Alan R. Sandage, astronomer with Mount Wilson and Palomar Observatories, says that newly found distant blue galaxies clinch the Big Bang theory of sudden universal creation. This seems to put rest the steady-state theory in which matter is continually created in the universe, espoused by noted astronomer and science fiction writer Fred Hoyle. Several other nations are doing their best to enter the space race. The French Diamant booster is on schedule for satellite launch in 1966. Meanwhile, the joint European ELDO rocket has run into delays. Speaking of rockets, the day before yesterday, the Air Force's new Titan III-C launched from Cape Kennedy. This triple rocket is even more powerful than the Saturn I. In cultural news, the White House Festival for the Arts was held on June 14, 1965, saluting the creative people of America. Artists, dancers, musicians, and sculptors presented their works in a gala affair. Finally, all four Beatles were made members of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. They are the first group of pop singers to be so honored. One fan was heard to sneer, "They've gone respectable." And that's the news for this week. Harry, what's the next song you're going to do? We have to wait for Telstar to broadcast the sound from here to Harry's ears. I think he's picking up the transmission now.
Sorry, yes, it's coming in. It's slightly delayed. Hello, Harry Sullivan here again, once again, joining you. So I'm sorry, well, one more time. What was the question?
Do you perhaps have a song you might wish to play?
I perhaps do. I do have a song to get ready. I thought we were still mid-news, but this is a fitting one. A little song about the way people are getting more and more of their news every day through the miracle of television. And I hope you all enjoy. It's an original. A time there was when I'd go outside till you showed me the easier way. Now I sit and I stare and I think when I dare about the pretty programs that you send my way. Where would I go without your mid-morning show that can help me see the world as it stands or falls. Although my mother might say I should go out today, she don't know me like you know me, Precious TV. Precious TV. Tune me in and turn me on and show the world to me. Time goes by and a man grows up and must find his own place in the world. But nothing could prepare him for the mysteries and terrors of the secret lives of other boys and girls. What would I do without your sweet static view that will share with me the things I dare not touch so much? Although my girlfriend might like to come over tonight, she won't show me what you show me, Precious TV. Precious TV. Tune me in and turn me on and show the world to me. Times they changed, but you haven't told me why they can't just stay the way they were. But you never lie, you always show me both sides, then you tell me which one I prefer. What would I be without your commentary that can help me tell the good guys from the bad in a world going mad? Although my children have said that my eyes are turning red, I don't trust them like I trust you, Precious TV. Precious TV. Tune me in and turn me on and show the world to me. Times they pass and must pass away, and it seems like they're getting near the end. But if I should die before I should wake, I hope I hear the static humming of my true friend. And now my grandchildren call, tell me that a bomb's about to fall. But I don't know them like I know you, Precious TV.
That was beautiful. So, Harry, you out there?
I'm here. I've got these newfangled audio headphones.
No, those are beautiful.
Have you heard
Wicked.
about
So obviously that last song was about what Nelson Minnow would call the vast wasteland. I wonder what motivated you to write about a song about the boob tube.
Well, this boob tube just keeps getting bigger and bigger with each passing year, and they keep expanding the. If it continues to grow at the rate that it has been growing, we'll have a situation like the movie The Blob or something on our hands, where we've got it. The television is expanding not throughout the city streets, but throughout the our human minds and our human culture. It's going to dominate more and more of it. And I was trying to predict what using psychohistory to predict what the future of television might look like. And it's kind of a nightmarish image. People cut off from the real world, people only getting their news from one particular source. It's a bit of there's a bit of a nightmare there, but I wanted to write it as a personal nightmare.
Well, I personally don't have a problem with people getting their news from a trusted source. So, for instance, Walter Cronkite is perhaps the most trusted man in America. Surely you wouldn't have a problem with people getting their news from him.
No, I quite like Walter Cronkite. I worry that other people might see the format by which he is able to present news and might present a slightly more biased version. We've had propaganda in other countries. Of course, America doesn't have quite the problem with that. No,
I understand. These demagogue-based news channels might come in like a fox in a hen house and convert our entire TV landscape. I understand the warning. Speaking of warnings, I would love it if your next song was the song that first turned me on to your work in the first place. I think you know which one I'm talking about. But while we're talking about that song, before you play it, I'd love it if we dropped a poll onto this broadcast, because I want to know what people out there feel is the biggest existential threat to the United States in this most modern year of 1965. Is it the threat of communist takeover? Is it the rampant inequality between black and white in this nation? Is it perhaps poverty that has stricken most of the country, spotlit by LBJ's trip to Appalachia and thus the prompting of his Great Society legislation? I would like to hear from you, the audience, and I'd like you to tell us what you think as my good friend Harry Seldon goes into the strains of his lovely, amazing, and haunting and hopeful tune, Another Sunrise.
Is that my cue to play now?
That is your. I was trying for a cue. Yes.
Yes, I follow. I wasn't born a follower, but I follow you right now.
Oh, well, good.
Let me take these headphones off and strap the guitar on.
There's a song by Little Peggy Marsh, I Will Follow You, and that's good advice on the Journey Show.
I had a close call on the coastline yesterday, when a blaring air raid siren chased a flock of birds away. Oh, I fell to my knees and I heard my helpless pleas, made my peace, was set to go. Guess that's the end of the show. And then a voice said, this has only been a test. Oh, it's quite all right for now. There's no smoke on the horizon, no mushroom in the clouds. It'll be okay, we can make it through the day if we only learn to disbelieve our eyes. Then we might just live to see another sunrise. People are arguing and fighting all damn day about a word or two the newscasters or newspapers might say. Now if we only knew which were fake and which were true, we could add up all the proof, realize no one knows the truth. And that's much scarier than any breaking news. But it's quite all right, I'm fairly sure. There's no smoke on the horizon. There's no new wars that are breaking, just the same ones as before. It'll be all right, we can make it through the night if we only learn to disbelieve our eyes. Then we might just live to see another sunrise. I woke up to a nightmare late last night. The whole world was on standby, everyone frozen with fright. If we all stay home, we could make it through alone. The air was cold and dry, and I never got to fly. So I took a few deep breaths and started calling everyone I'd ever met, with all the things I'd hoped to tell them that I hadn't told them yet. When the universe goes flat, it could happen just like that. No time to say goodbye, no time to wonder why. Just enough to say, okay, it's been a good life. Oh, but it's quite all right for today. We've still got a moon to keep the tide, a sun to light the way. And we still can speak, although the signal's getting weak, and there will come a time there's nothing left to say. It was just too damn bright to see it yesterday, but it's dark enough to see it all again. Now that the crickets form a choir of all our blessings and our sins. When they sound all clear, we can make it through the year. And we've no choice now but to believe our eyes, and to hope we live to see another.
Moving stuff, Harry.
Thank you.
So, Harry, let's talk a little bit about the music. You've always been a songwriter ever since I met you back in music school. Gosh, almost 20 years ago now. Tell me a little bit about your musical path, how you got to where you are today. And maybe while we're talking, the moderator can let the audience know where they can get some of Ben's music, including that great song.
Yes, certainly. Well, I come from, my family is not particularly musical. They're interested in mystery novels and urban planning, things like that. And naturally, music was a bit of a contraband substance, and I liked to smuggle it in. I've loved this rock and roll music since it caught on. Has been a big trend. But and of course the electric folk music. I think that's been a nice development.
Well, I understand Bob Dylan's new album is gonna explore in that arena. Is a real departure.
I'm quite excited for it. I'm curious to see where he goes. Like I opened with one of his songs, and I've met him a few times, and I always say, "Hey, Bobby, do you ever think of doing something besides this purist folk type things?" Because it's lovely music, but it's fairly dreary. And he's also got a sense of humor, which I think is something that, in a slightly more, like I think if he embraced his party mentality, we might be seeing, hit dance albums by Bob Dylan by the end of the decade.
I have trouble believing that, but dream on.
Well, yes, I mean that's all I do is dream, and the music is an attempt to, I think, probably channel some of that. But yes, as you may know, I have an interest in psychohistory. That's another part of it, is trying to record music that encompasses emotions of a certain time period.
Well, excellent.
Case, the early
1960s. So, in other words, it's very now music. It's very much in the scene.
I wouldn't call myself ahead of my time. One reviewer for my first record said ahead of its time, and I don't know if I agree with that. I like to be right in the moment.
You're right on the cutting edge of your time. And I just like to point out that one thing that you and I and Bob Dylan all have in common is a certain heritage that we're very proud of. And I think I think we have a unique perspective of both humor and bitterness that is so important to folk music.
That's right. I chose my name, Harry Seldon. I noticed Bob Dylan, Mr. Zimmerman, changed his name. And like, other famous Jewish people before him, like Jesus Christ picked probably the best stage name in existence. And that's why he continues to be so popular, millennia.
I believe like Tony Curtis's original name was Schwartz. It might have been Danilovich, like Kirk Douglas, but it's one of those things that's lost to history.
Right, it's a tradition to give yourself two first names too. I didn't do that. The Douglas trick of giving yourself a first name as a last name, or Dylan.
Well, Kirk Douglas can get away with almost anything. He's got the chin for it. So, Harry, what's your next song you're going to play for us?
I suppose I should do one of my covers, perhaps. Would you like to hear? Or maybe we
Little Boxes, how about?
Yeah, let's do Little Boxes. I like that one. I like that idea. This is a song written by Malvina Reynolds and made popular a few years back by a singer named Pete Seeger, who we've all heard of, I hope. Yes, and it goes a little, as someone who has observed the suburbs like grow, again, not to overuse a blob metaphor, but suburbs are even blobbier than television because they actually exist in physical space. And if they continue to grow at the rate that they have been growing, then by the mid-1980s, most of our population will be living in suburban areas with identical housing tracts. It's kind of a little bit of a nightmare. And I know you as a science fiction fan has probably read at least one or two books predicting such a development. Here we go. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, they all look just the same. There's a pink one and a green one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to university, where they were put in houses and all came out the same. There's doctors and there's lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martini dry. They all have pretty children, and the children go to school. And the children go to summer camp, and then to university, where they get put in boxes, and they all come out the same. And the boys go into business, marry and raise a family in boxes made of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. There's a pink one and a green one, a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same.
Beautiful.
I like
when
it.
Did that song?
I think it was written in '61, if that's your question. Sorry to predict you using history, but
has she done anything else that you know of?
I think not. I haven't heard her record. I think Pete covered maybe one of her other songs. Pete likes to lend support to other songwriters. He's a good songwriter himself, but he tends to find songs that he likes and perform them, which I think is kind of respectable, to be able to write a song and then also be able to arrange and perform other people's songs. What I like about that song is it takes the inherent repetition of folk music and applies it to a repetitive landscape that it's describing. You know, the music is repetitive by design.
Have you heard of P.F. Sloan? Pete Seeger sounds a bit like that, in that he writes a lot of songs for other people, but also does great stuff on his own.
Yeah, I'll have to investigate.
P.F. Sloan, S-L-O-A-N. He's done some stuff for, what's his name? Barry Maguire, who's becoming something of a star.
Yes, Barry Maguire. What's his big hit been at this point?
He's been with another band for the past several years. He did Green Green and Saturday Night.
I have a feeling he's one of those artists. I have a feeling his best work may be ahead of him. But
he was with the New Christy Minstrels.
Oh yes, yes.
But he's gone solo now, and I'm looking forward to what he comes up with. And I understand P.F. Sloan's writing some of his work. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll cover one of those in the future.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I mean, gosh, we'd practically be on the eve of destruction if you did something like that. Harry, I want to hear your next song in a moment, but I also want to open it up while you do your next song. I'd love the audience, because we have one of the best question-asking audiences that ever existed. We have a nice intimate group here. We're all friends. So if you have any questions for Harry about music or politics or life in general, we would love to answer them. Join our little party, ask a question, we can answer it. But first, Harry's going to play us another song, and this one's an original, and I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Every time I ask him, it seems like I've surprised him.
When I was young, my friends decided that our school days were no fun. And so we bought some horses, said goodbye, and rode into the sun. 5 came along, our wagon rolling strong, but our scouting days always kept us hugging that trail too tight, and we never learned about snake bite. 1 went down and 4 kept riding all along the Oregon Trail. We had to cross a river by a raging waterfall. Now to float for to wait it out, we'd have to make that call. Before we were here, the answer seemed so clear, but our woodshop days never taught us how to perfect our craft, and 1 got swept right off the raft. 1 went down and 3 kept riding all along the Oregon Trail. We had to cross a river. Nope. We had to catch a proper meal or we would soon be done. And so the bear, deer, and bison all fell before our guns. 3 meals to choose, a gamble, win or lose, but our salad days never taught us how to cook rare or well, and 1 caught dysentery and fell. 1 went down and 2 kept riding all along the Oregon Trail. In winter we were snowed in a windy mountain pass, running low on logs, and a fire fading fast to brave the night. We'd have to play it right. But our history books never told us just what the Donners had done, and one more dropped dead from consumption. One went down and one kept riding all along the Oregon Trail. But don't look back, yeah, just keep moving all along the Oregon Trail. By the time I got to Portland, I was the last one left alive. Now I work a hotel lobby and wait tables at a dive. One thing I've learned, better learn or you'll get burned. I could have beat this game and touched the world when I was young and ripe, if I'd only learned to type.
Well, that was a lovely tune. The Oregon Trail. It's interesting. That's not a topic you hear much about. Why did you think that would resonate with today's audience?
Well, there was when I was young, a young child, 20, 30, 20, 25 years ago, and I was in high school, we had a section teaching us about the Oregon Trail, but it was particularly vague. It didn't seem like there was any actual history in it, other than a sort of imagined adventure, imagined historical adventure. And it struck me that a lot of what we learn in school is really just regurgitation of things that happened and not actual application of skills. Not that I'm saying learning history is, of course, very important, but I think there are better ways to learn about it than simply reciting stories, especially since, you know, a lot of the more interesting stories in history are things that you would have to go to a library and do deep digging to unearth. The very surface level history that public schools seem to be focused on. So I wanted to, I suppose, write something about the dangers of not learning proper lessons before attempting something dangerous.
That's beautiful.
The moral Janice of the story is learn and learn well.
Janice had a question for you. She wanted to know where you find the inspiration for your songs. You get obviously a lot of topics. So where do you get the germ of the idea to write your songs?
I live on planet Earth, which is never full, never wanting for sources of inspiration and humor too. Like, it's a really funny planet. We have a really funny culture that we've developed, and all sorts of subcultures and variations on human culture. And, you know, in particular, being an American, I'm fascinated with American culture, which seems to think of itself as existing in a vacuum from other things. We need an insider's perspective looking outside in on some of the strange things that happen here. But I couldn't say, I couldn't narrow it down, honestly. Sometimes.
So I have another question for you. How many instruments do you play, and which is your favorite?
It's approximately 10 or so, and let's see. I would say if I mention one that I particularly enjoy playing, I'd probably have to perform it here, which I'm not prepared to do. I find the guitar to be very versatile, but I also enjoy playing the accordion and other keyboard instruments. I'm a harmonica fan, and I also play woodwinds. Flute, clarinet.
Do you think you could pull out that accordion and just play a quick tune on it? You don't have to sing. You can just play a little something.
I think I might be able to work something out if that's a request. Sure.
That is a request.
Good. Well, as long as it's not a demand.
We don't demand on Journey Casual.
Yes, I like it. It's a very casual process. I have a slightly larger one than this, a full-size one, but this will do for the time being.
That takes me right back to my sailing days.
Oh, you used to be a sailor?
No.
I learned something. Your days of dreaming of sailing. Your sailing dreams.
That's right. That's fantastic. I remember you took the accordion to one of our Oktoberfest once, and that was great.
Yes, that seems like a fitting place for it. I quite enjoyed that.
You have one more cover, I understand, correct?
I do have one more cover, and that is probably the last of the songs I've fully rehearsed for.
No, I think that's a great one to put us out on. So as you all know, and I hope the moderator will help us out here, after the show, we all adjourn to Portal 55 for a live little shindig where we can talk to each other about music, current events, our favorite pipe tobacco, all the topics of the day. We'd love you to join us at Portal 55, and Janice is going to give you your signed invitation to join us, and you can talk to me and Harry and each other and anybody else. So to sing us out, Harry's got an upbeat tune for us all, so let's listen to it.
Back. Calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat? 'Cause summer's here and the time is right for dancing in the street. They be dancing in Chicago, down in New Orleans, and in New York City. All we need is music, sweet music. There'll be music everywhere. They'll be singing, swaying, and record playing, dancing in the street. It doesn't matter what you wear, just as long as you are there. So come on, every guy and every girl, everyone around the world. Oh, we'll be dancing, dancing in the street. Dancing, dancing in the street. This is an invitation across the nation, a chance for more folks to meet. There'll be music swinging, dancing, singing, and dancing in the street. Philadelphia, PA, down in New Orleans, can't forget the Motor City. All we need is music, sweet music. There'll be music everywhere. Oh, there'll be singing, swaying, record playing, dancing in the street. It doesn't matter what you wear, just as long as you are there. So come on, every guy and every girl, everyone around the world. Doesn't matter what you wear, just as long as you are there. Every guy and every girl, everyone around the world, he'll be dancing, dancing in the street. You'll be dancing, dancing in the street. Dancing, dancing in the street. You'll be dancing, dancing in the street.
Beautiful. True story about Martha and the Vandellas doing that song. Apparently, she did a take of it, and it was beautiful. And then turned out that they hadn't had their recorder on. So she had to do the whole thing over again, and that's why she belts it out and sounds maybe even a little mad, because she was. All right, with that wonderful tune, I think we're going to sign off for today, but I hope you all enjoyed having Harry Seldon on this show. I know I did. I was very excited to have him here and listen to his music, and you can listen to his music. Please check out his album. It's an amazing piece. I got it, and you should too. We'll also tell you how to get it when we go to Portal 55 as well, which is where we are repairing to now. So the next show is going to be a rather amazing show. It's going to be on July 8th. So we're skipping July 1st.
It's
No.
July 11th.
Sorry, July 11th. So we're skipping July 4th because it's Independence Day. And originally, we had thought about having all our British contributors to Galactic Journey doing a special Independence Day show. But unfortunately, they had other plans. So there will be no tea party that day. But on July 11th, we're going to have a very special fashion episode featuring Carla Woodson, who is an amazing costumer, Galactic Journey's own Gwen Conaway, who is a Design Guild member, and, of course, Gabriela Hernandez, who is the founder and CEO of a cosmetics company called Besame. So we hope you will join us for the July 11th fashion show, and those of you who attended today will get a special invitation, and of course anyone else who's tuning in will also find out about it, and we'll be happy to show you how to get there. So thank you very much. Harry, I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did. Thank you for having me.
And we will see you all in Portal 55. So long.